Game Clique.
This one might be interesting. Kratos.
I don't know what his sign is, but all I can think is, and it's not because this is the name he screams all the time, but Aries is what I think when I think of Kratos.
Oh,
Like, it's just fire, angry, and even when we're in the second arc of his life now, technically third, fourth, however you want to look at it, but this later arc of his life where he's more reserved and trying to learn calmness. Like everything I know about him, he approaches it from like this Aries kind of viewpoint, which I've come to understand is react first, think about it later. Is what I've gotten from my understanding with him. And I can't wait for Nerdy to jump in with their analysis of it. But my understanding of Aries is very guarded, um, can't let people in. And when they do, it is a long, arduous process. And even when you're in, it's also easy to let you go. Like at that, like they do not have an attachment style from what I understand. So yeah, that's got from Aries, and they're just that I don't know what Kratos' birth date is, but that's what I got.
it is July 30th, 501 BC.
He's a Cancer.
So, no, that's
Jim.
Leo.
Leo. Okay.
Yes, they have him listed as a Leo, which
That's a close
I get
second,
it.
but yeah.
I get it. I don't know why this is going to be very controversial. I know astrology is going to rip me apart for this. I'm feeling Capricorn for some reason, but mainly because when you think of how he got that way, because it's like, is that his core personality or was he made into that? And because it's like, I remember, I think at one point he had like a family and everything, and then he was tricked, and so he's mad about something. So, and eventually he has to find a way to let that anger go. I see the Leo mainly in that Leos can be very family oriented. But if something is taken from them, it deals off. Like you become a completely different person. So I get that part. Also, July Leos are a little crazy. Just say that. The reason why I'm thinking Capricorn though is there's chaos, but there's a little bit of structure to it. And it doesn't seem like a super aimless. Okay. Have you ever seen like the lawful good, neutral, things like that?
Yeah.
He almost seems like a somewhere between a lawful neutral to a lawful evil, because it seems like there's a principle in there somewhere. So that's the only reason why something is just screaming Capricorn or Earth sign to me. But I also see the Leo side because it makes sense, because Leos can also be a little structured too. So I'm saying either way.
I definitely know about Leo structure, but nothing else about
Leos
Leo
can have like
stands
a
out.
principle. Yeah, because he's not
He's not flamboyant. He doesn't really care about all of the attention being on him.
I feel like that's a common misconception about Leo.
Well, the Leos I met, they live up to that.
I think, but
praised.
It depends. Yeah, that's really what it is. It's a little closer to that because they like to be at the head of the table because they like to be responsible for everyone at the table. But they want that reciprocation as far as like you recognizing that they're taking care of the table. But the problem is sometimes when you have a table and the praise becomes more important than the responsibility part of it, that's when it turns into that whole like, everyone look at me, like they definitely need that feedback loop, but they don't do what they need to do to earn it, and that's why it seems off balance. Because when they do, you'll see that it naturally comes, because if you're at the head of the table, head of household or whatever, you're taking care of everything, then and people appreciate that, then that's a natural loop. They don't have to ask for it. They don't have to like go out of their way to get it. So I think that's where the misconception comes from. But I think at the core of it, they they like they like to control things, but from a point of like responsibility. So that's why I'm thinking with Kratos, it kind of makes sense because if you're responsible for your family and you end up being their demise because of a mistake or something, that's gonna send you into a rage because you're like, that was that I had one job type thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I think that because it's interesting, Kratos, from what we've seen from him, is kind of like we're looking at two different characters. The Kratos from the original
Mhm.
trilogy is almost sort of different than the Kratos we see in this new kind of not
Vastly
reboot,
different.
but you know, but
Yeah.
like you were pointing at before, that original trilogy Kratos was a direct response to being tricked into killing his family. Whereas I think this more grounded Kratos that we see now may be the actual Kratos, if that makes sense.
I mean,
Or the
the
healed version.
Yes.
yeah, the spoiler version for the end of Ragnarok, I do think, just based off of what Nerdy showed us, the Leo side comes up
Mm-hmm.
as far as the end of Ragnarok, when you're looking at either the final battle as well as like his lasting motivation,
Mm-hmm.
what decides to keep him pushing on. It does seem like there's Leo tendencies there, just with the idea of like having responsibility and
Mm-hmm.
having people to be accountable to, um and that he also holds accountable like that, it does show up in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But I still stand by my analysis, which is limited. I just know that this man is over 500 years old and he's lived many lifetimes and probably many zodiacs at this
Yeah,
point.
that's the thing.
That part. That part. But Aries, I definitely see why. And I think that's what most people like would think because when you think of Aries, you think God of War, you think rage, fire, brimstone. Like
Mhm.
that's
And
that's the
I've
fire
met
sign
healed
though.
Aries, and it gives me this new I wanted to call it the trilogy, but it's not that. This new arc of Kratos.
Yeah, I'll
So yeah.
say also with Aries, they have this thing like I like to call it the Ring of Fire. And it's like they're so like intimidating and scary, I guess to some people, until you get through that Ring of Fire and
Mhm.
then they're this teddy bear. But then, like you said, the second that you kind of do something they don't expect or you let them down or something, they like push you right back out. So, but that's the only reason why I'm just like, because I never quite saw the teddy bear side of him, which is usually the indicator that you're a little bit more on the Aries side.